email was that? What is that?
It says SWAT from you.
No, it's not.
It says your name, but it was a very funny email. That's right.
Oh, you got that email?
You have to check it.
Back?
Okay, try replying to just say hi and see if you get it.
So I didn't reply, I deleted already.
You should. No, it's not. I don't. I'm not that.
But that's what I'm saying. Isn't it
Like,
important
put
that
that
all
whole
our
under
employees
It
attend
is.
town hall?
It says
we will miss the
Swati,
48 hours.
your last name, and it says from MN.
Is it important that our builders attend town hall?
It just says, are you in the office? And I was wondering, I saw you when I was.
How do we call it a town hall if we force people to work during
So
it?
I didn't.
We have
He talked the same way.
Oh, who needs to take my car?
They can watch the
they can watch that.
Okay, they watch
Because they're,
afterwards.
they're back.
Are you guys gonna provide time for them to watch town hall?
Yeah, we actually do.
Okay.
We'll let them eat.
Okay, let them eat at least. Okay.
I can't do that anymore.
Already? Okay.
Because it's.
It's recording.
Is that what it is?
Nick, customer service is ready? Okay, we're just gonna start. Hi, welcome to our Q1 town hall. Another new year. I hope everyone's been having a really good 2018. So we have town halls every year. There's a lot of new people actually, so I wanted to give a quick recap of why we have town halls in our all hands meeting once a quarter. It's to update everyone in the company with the direction that the company is going in, to offer visibility and transparency with organizational decisions. It's also to celebrate the success of our last quarter and look forward to our next quarter. So welcome everyone that's new. If this is your first town hall, we have it every quarter and we have lunch afterwards, so everyone loves that. And so some announcements from People Operations this last quarter. This month we started our intake form. I know a lot of people have started using it for requisitions and reimbursements, but it does a lot of other things as well. We've also been really kind in letting people decide if they want to use it or not, but we're going to become stricter about that. So if you haven't been using our intake form, please start using it. Otherwise, we're going to start returning requests to you. We've had increased event participation, and not just because we had more people in the office recently. So we really like to see that people are engaged and people are wanting to hang out with their coworkers and their colleagues and share time with them and build those relationships. Another thing that's on a lot of people's minds that I get questions about a lot is kind of what is the road to the new office / better office, right? One of the things that happened within the last 3 months was we were looking for a place to move. However, the decision came down that maybe it's better for us to stay here for a little bit longer and delay that move so we can have the right place to move into. So we went through a lot of iterations about how we're going to move, who was going to move, and it just didn't make sense to us to make a decision that would split the team up when we didn't have to. So we're gathering more information with the possibility of moving the entire team at the end of this year. So those discussions will begin again in a couple of months. And if you guys have any comments or opinions on that, you're more than welcome to come talk to us. We will have open meetings for those decisions too, so you can input your voices. In the meantime, during the interim, we are changing Phantom into an office space, and Swati's team is graciously helping us out here with moving some of her people inside so we can open up. Everyone gets claps now.
Thank you.
So that benefits me. So some people will be moving in there, and that will open up some seats in the office for us. And then we're going to turn Kraken back into a conference room and hopefully spruce it up a little bit so it feels a little bit nicer than right now. And the last announcement I have is that Glassdoor and Indeed, as you all know, in November we had an event where people signed up to leave reviews, and our ratings went up. So I'm happy about that. It went from low 3s to 4s. And we also became an open company for Glassdoor, which allows more transparency into the company from job seekers to allow them to build more trust before they even come talk to us. So that's all the announcements that I have, and we're going to start off with Juan.
Okay, so I'm starting this year, sort of leading the build effort with Johnny. So I'll be helping out a lot with the day-to-day and planning. And so with that said, want to give a quick update on the build. Our numbers are pretty good for this month. We're already actually, we passed our previous record a few days ago already. So the extra orders that are coming in now are, so sort of cherry on the top. But we have, much higher goals for the end of this year. But BLD is definitely getting more traction. I think, with like the giveaway, we got a lot of interest, a lot of emails. So, and our conversion rates are going up. Basically, the rate from when a user steps onto our page and actually checks out with an order. So that has gone up from last month to this month. So I'm very hopeful for BLD, and I'm looking forward to getting to our goals this year. CAM is also looking up as well. Our MPS score for CAM users without hardware, which is most of the users of CAM actually, it's the majority of the users. Even though we have a lot of hardware users, the majority is still basic users, which makes them potential customers. The MPS score, so MPS is basically we ask the user how likely are they to basically recommend CAM to a colleague or a friend. That score has improved. Last year, I remember around this time it was -10, which means they're not recommending. In fact, they're actively kind of not recommending. But it was for last month's users, it was actually +16. Now the max score is 100, but no one actually gets to 100. But like for some of our hardware products and customer service, I think they're usually around 50 to 60 range. I don't know if for software that's the same bar, but we've definitely improved a lot since last year. The hardware score is still, it's better than it was before, but it's still sort of slightly negative. So we're hoping to turn that around into above 0. So, and our daily users are growing at a good clip again this past month. So we're around 120K account users. So there's probably another 25, 30K guest users. So we're about 150K daily, and we're over 250K monthly. So yeah, I mean things are trending up as far as the user count. So those are the updates for CAM. Obviously, we have a lot of new products launching this year with CAM in it. So we'll be working on that in the coming months after we're done improving our code, our foundation basically for CAM. Yeah.
So on that note, we have Max, who is deeply involved with the refactoring of CAM, and he's going to quickly talk about what's been happening this past month and how we anticipate to make the client better.
So as most of you guys know, the software for NCSD, it doesn't have the best. You say this. Not everybody likes it. So what we're trying to do right now is improve the quality by simplifying the way we code the software, so that we avoid having to make a lot of mistakes. One of the things that we're doing is right now rewriting the core of the software and improving and using new technologies to build the front end. So the team doesn't have to be all seniors, so we avoid having to make the same mistake twice every time we do a release. And at the same time now improving the way we do releases by adding testing to the software, to the code. So the idea is by the Q2 we will have a new version of CAM that will help us push our NPS score above negative for hardware users.
Thanks.
Right?
And on the engineering side, a pretty big announcement. We've hired a VP of engineering. He's actually remote. His name is Victor Su. He's in Colorado, but the expectation is he's going to be traveling between working from home in Colorado, LA office, and Taipei office, since a lot of our engineers are actually in Taiwan. He's actually going to be in Taiwan next week. Tyler and Max are also going next week to meet with them, and they're going to be spending an entire week together getting acquainted. We're really hoping that this is really going to do the trick. This is something that's come up many times in our town halls around the quality of CAM and the users' kind of complaints about CAM's quality. So we're really investing in CAM. So I'm really hoping to see a big turnaround this year. And so a couple other things. First of all, we have our top line goals for this year. So this year is we're targeting 66 million globally, which is about a 25% year-over-year growth rate. We're going to be entering 3 new categories. So today I would say NZXT is definitely top 3 in casing cooling, and 3 categories that we're looking at, audio being one, motherboards we've just announced in CES, and the power supplies a little bit in Q2, Q3. So hopefully those 3 categories over the course of the next couple of years is going to set us up for more growth that we're going to need and to hit our long-term goal of becoming a top gaming hardware company in this space. So that's kind of on the corporate side, and on the CAM side, our goal this year is 500,000 users, and for build, I think our goal is to get to 300 builds per month by the end of the year. All projections that we think is reasonable and achievable. From a personal end, the number one thing I'm focused on right now is trying to restructure the team and the amount of people that report up to me, which is 16 today, down to half of that number. So part of that was the hiring of the engineering lead, but we also are looking for a head of operations, which will roll people ops, finance, accounting, global ops, which is the supply chain stuff, and MIS all into one department, and a head of design, which would roll UX, UI, creative, and industrial design all into a single role. So once we do that, we can get down to 9, and I think that's going to be more humanly manageable. So that is my number one goal for the first 2 quarters, is hoping we can hire some really good leadership in design and operations and engineering. So.
Swati?
Sure. I think, as Johnny said, this year has been great for us, 2017 collectively, and I think IBU is a similar story for them. But we did exceed our goal for both revenue and profitability. Revenue was 105% of our projected growth, and then profitability also was about 107% of our goal. So we did pretty well as a team. Both from sales, marketing, operations, PR, all fronts, and direct-to-consumer channels as well. We're excited about 2018. It's along with the growth goals, it's challenging and yet exciting that we're entering new categories. So our team is working towards establishing how we reach to those consumers from those categories, convince them why they should look at NZXT products, and from channel standpoint, making sure that we're reaching our new channel buyers to convince them to pick up our products. But we are very excited about the product, the product strategy this year. So I think it should be great year. Josh's audio project is very exciting as well, and so is Melody's. So overall, we are excited. It's going to be challenging, but along with that comes new opportunities. So we're looking forward to 2018.
Accounting.
Since Frank, can you do quick announcements of Frank for?
No.
Victor, do you have anything from Frank?
IBU?
Oh, Sophie, great.
So Frank
Oh, Sophie, introduce yourself. Come into the video.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah, and your role changed this
Yeah,
year too, right?
introduce yourself.
Okay. All right. Stepping into 2018, I'm actually became a senior business manager for Latin America, covering 3 regions. It's actually completely new, role for me. So since Frank is on business trip, he's somewhere in Europe right now. So so I will be giving out some announcement for IBU. So we had a great 2017 as well as thanks for mentioning it earlier. And there are three big sub-regions in IBU: EMEA. For those of you who doesn't know what's EMEA, they're actually Europe and Latin America, and also APAC, which is the Asian team. So for the year 2017, the annual achievement rate for the EMEA, which is Europe team, is 19.7 million. With the year-over-year growth rate as 34.9%, and for Latin America, the annual revenue was at 2.17 mil for 20.5% growth rate, and for APAC, which is 5.7 mil for 93.2% growth rate compared with the year before. And as overall for IBU, we reached 27.6 mil for last year, and overall achievement rate is 110% with 42.5% growth rate. So a couple updates for the team undergo this year. So currently we're undergo a few transitions. In EMEA, we're merging 6 regions into 4, and 3 into 2 in APAC, and reorganizations for Latin America organization. And for the year of 2018, the revenue goal we're set for 36 million, and currently we're working on team development and organization chart. That will be it from me.
Thank you.
All right.
No, she's
Christina. Sorry.
okay.
Yes.
For January 2018, accounting is very busy because we're trying to close the book for 2017. Also, since IBU has changed their structure for all different regions, and NABU is asking for separating the code between different customers, that's going to take us a long time to get that set up for you guys, but we are trying. So we're doing that, plus try to close the book. Swati said I can say my team is the best, but I don't think I can do that anymore. But we do have one. Jeffrey has been with the company for three and a half years. Yeah.
Yeah, he joined with
And,
me.
and Jeffrey is doing a great job for the company, and we just promote him to become the accounting manager. And since we are very busy now, so if we are late on your reimbursement, be patient.
Okay. I probably do the most of those.
That's all we have.
Okay.
Should I introduce my warehouse new team member?
Oh,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
more thing.
Oh.
Warehouse is doing a good job for January.
Thank you.
So far.
Thank you. No,
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, go for
I
it.
don't have any problems.
great. And I do want to introduce some new changes in warehouse team. Of course, Mike is a new operations manager who joined our team. Joe, I can't see him, but he got promoted as warehouse supervisor, so congratulations to him. William Emmett, I think you guys have seen him around, like he's joined last time we did this town hall. But Jonathan, William, they're new additions to our team. Howard and Deepthi also have joined direct to consumer channels and sales operations. So I welcome them all, and we are very, very excited to have you guys on board. So.
Okay. Now we're done with announcements. I don't know. Did Jim say he's gonna call in? No, he didn't talk to me. Okay. We're gonna go forward with questions. We'll start off with the ones with Johnny. Do we plan to make our RAM heat sinks anytime soon?
No.
Perfect. No further explanation needed. Whoever asked that, you have your answer. Do you feel the N7 is still?
We've got our hands pretty full right now with a lot of stuff. So, not forever, but right now, no.
Do you feel the N7 is still a little too expensive?
I think actually the original price point was okay, honestly, given all the stuff we integrated on the product. However, we really responded with the price change because of a lot of the feedback. People felt like it was slightly too expensive for them to buy. But if you were thinking about buying a Hue Plus, Grid Plus, you kind of needed to buy then an internal USB hub. It actually comes about to be about the right about 300. So I actually feel like it's a great price now if you're planning to buy those products. So there has to be some innate value to the software integration and industrial design. I think that's where we have to stand our ground and say, like, if you enjoy the product, if you enjoy the design, you should be willing to pay a little bit more for it.
Actually, does everyone know that the N7 dropped in price? Okay, everyone
Yeah.
knows, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not my question, but someone else asked this. Are we getting any pink H cases soon?
So maybe.
So my question is
No,
why?
So if any, I don't know if everyone knows the story about the Pink Phantom. So the Pink Phantom happened because we made a line of pink cases and rendered it as a April Fool's joke, and then we had a lot of angry people call us the day after, like, I thought it was a real thing and blah 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 blah. So then we sold the Pink Phantom. So anytime there's overwhelming demand for something, we find a way to address the consumer's needs. So I'll leave it at that. So if there's a demand, we will fulfill the need. Yeah.
Okay. Reflecting on 2017's performance, is there anything you think we can explicitly do better to reach our goals for 2018?
Yeah, 2017 and I've shared this with the team, the management team. 2017 for me was a really weird year. Like we blew out the numbers. Like we've never had such a great year. But for me personally, I actually didn't feel that fulfilled because we had a lot of issues, like cam problems, and we got blasted on Reddit. Well, I got blasted on Reddit, and we slipped on product. We had quality issues with Kraken. I mean, ton of stuff like didn't work last year, but yet we hit our goals. So if you ask me, like, if we could get better at quality, software and hardware, we ship products on time, we could do better at cross team communication. That's another thing that's been kind of a big issue. To develop our process, structure the company properly. Those are all things that we could do to make things better. And imagine if we had those things in place last year. I can only imagine how much more we would have grown, right? Because it's like, wow, we got that much growth when there was so much crap going on, right? So, yeah. So all those things we have to address this year. And I think those things are going to be more and more important as the company gets bigger because we can't afford to make those type of mistakes anymore when we're like $100 million company. It's just not. It's not going to be okay. Yeah.
So we know the revenue goals for 2018. Going back to the last question, what would you consider a success for 2018 beyond revenue? What are those things that you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually in the corporate OKR. I think we have to successfully enter new categories, right? So even if we get, let's say, 66 million this year with just case and cooling, it's great from a top line goal perspective, but it doesn't say a lot about our capacity to enter new categories. And for me, it's how successful are we in entering new categories? And I would say in some ways starting new businesses like Build, right? We know we've been a case company for 13 years, so no one's going to doubt us there, right? It's like when we enter new categories, will people give us the same level of respect, and can we build a business there? I think if that answer is yes, then I think it gives me, I think, and all of you enough confidence for us to go into new categories next year and next year.
Okay. What do you have to say to employees that might not believe in gaming culture here at the company?
I think it's okay. Well, first, I think it's okay, right? I mean, I don't think there's plenty of people here who don't play games. I absolutely think it helps if you game because you kind of get the perspective of our customers. You don't have to be a gamer. There's plenty of people here who don't game, right? I know a majority of people here do. But for those people who have time, I think you should speak to a fellow gamer and have them onboard you into the wonderful world of PC gaming.
Not me, because I'm checked out. So. And last question for you, Johnny, is if you can build your first PC again, what parts would you use?
That's a weird question.
That's That's why they're anonymous.
Okay, so I could tell the build, the next build I'm planning is an ITX build because I don't have space in my room. So I really want to build in the H200i, but I can't find good motherboards for it. So, and the graphics cards, and graphics cards are too expensive. So, yeah, that's what I'm planning right now. Yeah, I want to put a 1080 Ti in it. Yeah.
Okay, great. We had a couple questions for Fawn. Actually, two questions, but I'm gonna roll them together. As BLD is increasing their amount of orders, do you guys have plans to hire more people for the increased growth?
It's
For
not
BLD.
even- It's not even close to the capacity yet. So, yeah, we would have to be hit a lot more orders per day before we can hire
Okay.
someone. Yeah.
So, and then there's a couple questions for me, I guess. Running out of room in the parking lot, how can we maintain enough parking spots for all of our peeps? It's a good question. I'm going to answer this with my next question also, which is restroom situation mentioned last town hall has not been resolved. There are still lines for the men's room. Please advise. 1010 would wait again. So from the last town hall till now, we've had some changes in direction, right? In the last town hall, we were thinking about splitting the office up and kind of going in that direction to help alleviate space, restroom, conference room issues for everyone. Since then, we've kind of recalibrated and are hoping for a better solution that's much more long-term for all of us. And that means possibly moving to a different campus with every employee that's here, with the exception of possibly warehouse. So that being the case, we need more time to go back and do research and go back to the drawing board to see what options are available to us. As far as restrooms go, I know that okay, my first question is it that big of a problem? Like, would you mind, like, how many people, you don't have to raise your hand or anything, but come talk to me. How many people have, like, actually waited an uncomfortable amount of time for the men's restrooms? Okay. Okay, so, like,
I'm like waiting for a girl to raise her hand.
so,
For the men's restroom.
I mean, like, I understand that affects you guys, and it definitely does, but if it's, I don't know if it's become unreasonable yet. That's something you can also let me know, and everyone is different, of course. If you do have if it's a medical issue, that's something totally different. Come talk to me separately about that. We're trying this quarter to get our restrooms in a shape to accommodate the amount of people that we have. So I do know it affects a lot of the people who raised their hands, and I'm sure people who didn't raise their hands as well. We have our idea is to kind of do the back restrooms, not our side, but the one across the kitchen, to add in more urinals and stalls for the guys who are using it. So this way, hopefully, it will alleviate some pressure. But working with contractors and actually making those changes, of course, takes some time. So we re-geared up for that, and hopefully we'll have some solutions in the near future. As far as parking goes, that's another question we have. It's kind of what it is right now, and we hope everyone can bear with us in this time. It didn't really, we did find outside parking, it didn't really pan out, so, and that's okay. So I feel like right now if everyone can bear together a little bit for parking, it will help us in the long run of, solving that situation, so.
I think define the timeline, like, for the new office or maybe the.
Okay. So right now we're looking at a new office for the end of 2018 or the start of 2019. So within the next 3 to 4 months, we'll be opening discussions again on like what people are looking for in the office, because it does take time to find an office, redo it, get the contractors in, get into the shape that we want it to be in. So it is a process, and it does take some time, right? And I feel like that's where we are right now. Yeah. I've also talked to the managers to see if more remote work is possible for employees within their teams, and that would hopefully help with parking issues and restroom issues, and alleviate that as well. So we're trying to be as creative as possible. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to talk to me about them, and we can implement them pretty quickly if they're easy to do. But that's kind of where we are right now. I know it's probably not the answer you guys want. We are in a kind of holding pattern for a few months, but I ask that you guys bear with us. Okay. there were kind of two other questions. They were given to Johnny, but I think I'll try to answer them also. One of them is we're talking about company structure again, and people feel like the structure is leading to disincentives to working with each other. I feel that that's something we really learned last year with our company structure, and so we made those changes in November, December, and January of this year. I know Nicole sent out the department orgs again last night, where we are consolidating groups that work together in the hopes that the larger groups can collaborate amongst each other. And that's something that we're really looking forward to seeing this year. If you do believe that you're incentivized to not work with a certain department, please let me know. Talk to me about it, and let's figure out the incentives to make sure that we are openly collaborating, openly sharing information to help each other. I know that certain departments, I'm not calling out any departments, but if you see something that's not working well or not working right in another department, it shouldn't come off as a criticism, but what's this challenge that we can overcome together? We're both working on this together. We're both working at NZXT for the larger good of this company. How can we help each other get past those humps and offer solutions, right? It's one thing to call out, this is a problem or that, happened, but what is the solution to that? And working towards those collaborative goals instead of kind of the nitpicks that I feel like sometimes goes on. But if you see something really deep and you feel it's very ingrained in our culture, come talk to me about it, come talk to Johnny about it. We're very open to understanding these hurdles and getting over them.
Because I actually think the purpose of reorgs is actually trying to improve that. So it's certainly not to make it worse. That's I think that's not really the intent of reorgs.
Yeah. And then another question is, they were asking Johnny if they knew how upper management treats their direct reports. So I would assume this is someone with a manager that reports to Johnny, and wondering if Johnny knows how this manager treats their direct reports. And if there's any issues, how should we address it? So I would say the first thing you should do, like in our employee handbook, we kind of talked about this too. Talk to your manager. If you feel there's an issue going on, have honest, open communication, and make sure they know, because there's been times, not recently or anything like that, where sometimes the manager didn't even know this was going on and a direct report felt a certain way. Make sure to enlighten them first. Make sure to open that avenue of communication. Sometimes we forget about that. Go to your manager first. If you feel like you've tried and you really can't get through for some reason, you can always come talk to me. You can always come talk to Johnny. And actually on our intake form now, we have a grievance report that you can file. Usually that's saved for more like sexual harassment or bullying, but if you feel like there's something that's so consequential to you that you need to file a grievance that we ourselves do internal research on and try to get to the bottom of, that's for you also. Do you have anything to add for that?
Yeah, everything James just said, and truthfully, my only way of getting to people who report up to me, their peers and the people who report up to them, is through 360s. And I know we only do that twice a year, but as James said, you can always reach out to me. Part of like trying to get my 16 direct reports down to 8 and 9 is so I can actually have extra time to do stuff like, if I need to spend time with people who are, those report up to people who report up to me. Yeah. So I do want to make everyone feel comfortable that it's totally okay to reach out to me. I mean, right now it's kind of more of a time constraint than a will to do it. I really want to do it, but very limited time, so I'm trying to solve the time piece first.
Okay. And the last question I had was, what is the policy for dating in this office? why am I being asked that question, first of all? It's strongly discouraged for multiple reasons, right? Our official policy says that if it's forbidden to date someone that you're in a direct or indirect reporting relationship with. So that can be cross-departmental. It's definitely within departments as well. That one is like the hard and fast rule in the employee handbook. But overall, I would say the company frowns upon employees dating each other or fraternizing with each other because it causes additional problems that get in the way of being productive at work. So If you want to know the official policy, that's what it is. If you're thinking about dating someone at work, don't. As a suggestion, I can't like legally mandate you not to date who you love, right? But
Anything about love.
oh, sorry. Just yeah. Please, everybody, swipe left. Okay. I wanted to open up to any other questions that anyone might have for anyone up here or any teams. Anyone?
I have a question.
Okay.
When is the next big cam launch, I guess? If there is one?
It's not gonna be any big launches.
No, the next launch won't be perceived by the users actually, I think, as a new launch because the user experience remains relatively the same. The entire backend's like completely redone. So that's Q2. So but throughout Q1 we're gonna be updating the current client to make it more stable. But the big launch from an engineering standpoint is the brand new one with the new front end, new back end, not new back end, sorry, existing back end, but the new refactored client. But to the end user, I don't think they're gonna feel like it's as big of a launch as like 3.5, right?
So there'll be an update to support the updated mobile app, and there'll be
Oh, yeah,
another
yeah.
there'll be another update to support FPS. We have overhauled the FPS backend code. Actually, we changed. I mean, Max could probably talk more about that, but anyway, it's to support PUBG. A number of games that we have up to this point not being able to support. It also has some actually smaller benefits that I was shown yesterday that I think will be very good for users. So those are not like, those are pretty big, you know, they're pretty big improvements, but I wouldn't categorize them as like a major.
So
if you-
with the issues, I guess, from last year, are we planning on kind of doing anything, I guess, customer facing so they know, like, we've done improvements and we're ready for the new product?
Right. I mean,
guess?
that's going to be part of the announcement of the new client. Like, so here's all the stuff we've done on the back end to try to improve the client. But realistically, it's not up to us to dictate that because you could say, well, everyone says they build quality products, right? So we have allocated budget for marketing this year on the CAM side. And the idea is once we have the new client and we all feel very confident as to the quality and performance of the client, we're going to start aggressively getting YouTubers, influencers to review the new client. And they can be the voice of like, you know, judgment of whether or not the new client is better or not. So we have some budget put away after the new client's up to get a couple influencers to talk about how they feel about the new app. It's not crashing. It's not taking up a lot of memory. Blah blah blah. Right? So.
Any other questions? Mike?
Like outside the
Don't
office
blow up.
parking lot,
Across the street?
near the Starbucks. Just a
Starbucks.
few miles away.
Just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention now that I have everyone's here. It'll be
Huh?
done by tomorrow, okay?
Yeah. The fire marshal asked us
Actually,
to
on
go.
that note, I actually have a quick announcement. There's one person I didn't talk about. So Joanna came out, was in the CAM team, and then was then part of engineering, and now Joanna is running all the program management. So she's trying to arbitrage things between creative, engineering, industrial design, products, everything. So eventually, Joanna is going to be moving into probably eventually engineering. But right now, she reports up to me. She basically is responsible for all the program management across not only CAM but also hardware, and that's a really critical role. And as I've said, we've slipped a lot of products, so she's just really gonna help me monitor everyone's pace and where the bottlenecks are. So I mean that's a pretty much that's a, I would say that was a promotion for her because she runs program management now, and I think there's a plan to actually shift safety and certifications under Joanna. So not in Q1, but in Q2, I think Yilin will be moving out of the product group into safety certification role, which is inside program management. Yeah. Oh shit. We're also and so we're currently looking for also a cooling and power supply PM.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
When looking at Let's BLD game selections, is that going to be an ever-expanding list of games, or are we only keeping a specific number of rotation?
Yeah. So I expect it for a hard requirement. So we think most users play that amount of games, and even though we can try to get 100% coverage, it's the same like overlay. We don't try to cover 100%. We try to cover most people very well, but it's really hard to do 100% coverage.
Yeah, I mean, it's first of all, it's a logistical thing, and then secondly, it can be a little overwhelming, I think, for users. So I actually like the simplified 2021 list right now. If we were to talk about data, I would think the top 20 games, I mean, Mike can probably figure this out, but the top 20 games right now currently probably cover, probably 90% of all gaming, because you just look at, PUBG and Fortnite, how many people are playing those. The other games, it's likely that anyone who's coming onto the ability side will find in one of those 20 that, and that's why we're trying to update the game list too. So the more important thing for us actually is to keep current with the games. That's more where I'm focused on right now, instead of expanding the list. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. I think that concludes Q1's town hall. Anything else? No. Okay. Let's go eat.
Congratulations to you and you, James.
Oh.
You didn't announce that. I think we self-congratulate yourself. Thank you, Sly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.